Hey everybody, my name is Cheryl and I run a small handmade business called Hag-a-needle Handmade Creations. I run my business out of my she shed that I call the Peace Palace. So on this week's video, I'm going to be answering your questions. Sorry, I have to go to my notes. Um, some of them are, how did you become a YouTuber? My favorite crafts, and any tips on starting YouTube, and I have many more questions to go. So please join me and Jerry and Zara. I have my daughter's dog. She's staying with us. She looks just like Jerry. But yeah, join me inside and we'll get started on my questions. First of all, I would like to thank my Facebook group that came up with the questions for me. I really do appreciate it. You know who you guys are. Leave a comment for me and that so you can let people know that you're the ones who left me comments or asked me the questions. So moving on. How did you become a YouTuber? Okay. So I was getting on YouTube because I was very interested in tiny tiny homes, the tiny way of living. I mean, I think I've watched every episode of any type of tiny home being built. And then I ran across she sheds because they were kind of grouped in with your tiny home. And that's where I got my idea to get a she shed. And that's when I was watching videos on the she sheds and how people were YouTubing about it. And then I ran across people who got their sheds for craft sheds, and they had YouTube channels. And I kept thinking, why can't I do this? You know, I I think I can do it. So I made my first video. Actually, years and years ago, I made a shorts, and I didn't. This is like what 2013 or something. I made a shorts, and I just showed my items that I was making. I didn't have a clue what YouTube was about. Anyways, I decided when I got my shed done that I wanted to give a tour of it. And then I thought, well, you can't just keep giving tours every week. So that's when I decided I would just keep going. And I watched a lot of different people in the crafting field, how they did their videos and how I wanted to do mine. And I wanted to do mine as a week in the life. I did not want to be a tutorial person because really I can only put out so many tutorials. There's not a whole lot that I can really put out anymore. But yeah, that's how I got started on YouTube. Question number 2. When did you start sewing? I started sewing in my early 30s. I was over at a friend's house and she had this rag quilt blanket on the back of her chair and I loved it. And I just kept looking at it and I'm like, I think I could do that. I had a sewing machine that my grandma had given me, but I really never did much with it. I guess because I was always just crocheting. So I ran the pattern by my grandma, and we came up with what we needed, and she helped me sew my first rag quilt. And then after that, it went to sewing rag quilt purses. And then it went to just sewing regular purses. And everything that I've made, except for the makeup bags that I just made, are basically my own patterns that I just cut and do how I feel like doing. So yeah, my grandma worked at a factory at one point sewing, and she made my first wedding dress, and my mom made all the bridesmaids' dresses. And both my grandma and my mom can sew anything. Now, have I tried to sew clothes? Yes. Did I fail? Very badly. And clothes just never interested me. My mom used to make 90% of my clothes when I was little, and uh, I'm just clothes has not been an interesting thing to me. I like making purses. So question number 3 is, why do you have an aversion to outdoor markets? Okay. First of all, I'm a big baby when it comes to heat. I can't do it. The second one, uh, when you're outside in markets and you're not under any type of shade, I feel like you need a tent. And I'm really scared of tents, which I just got one because I'm going to try to get over this scaredness. But what happened was I was at a craft fair. I had my tent weighted and staked, and a huge gust of wind came up, uplifted my tent. It flew over and hit another lady's tent, and she came over and chewed my butt out as she was screaming at me. And I was probably 30-ish or something. I mean, it was the most horrifying thing ever. And I've never had a tent since my probably middle 30s. But I did purchase one. I did a video on it. It's very easy to put up. It is in my Amazon store. And if there is one single wind, that sucker will come down in a heartbeat. Number 4, the question is, any tips on starting a YouTube channel? That one is kind of tricky. Let's see. I think your biggest tip, my biggest tip would be pick what you're passionate about and stick to it. And I was passionate about showing um, showing handmade or a small business seller that what goes on in the week in the life, and that you can do it at any age. You can do it. So I had that's my real passion. That's what I want this channel to be about. And I'm really not a real outgoing person. I'm pretty laid back. I uh, I like to sit back and watch people more. I don't really talk a whole lot in person. I know a couple of my friends are watching and they're probably disagreeing right now. But um, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. Like, I can't talk in crowds. I get all weird and my face gets all distorted and stuff. And for some reason, I can talk to my phone. It's really not as hard as you think it would be. My suggestion would be to watch other YouTubers and try to gain some points off of them. Another thing is, do not watch the people who say, I can get you more subscribers, I can get you this, you can do, but don't watch them, because I did, and it's clickbait in my opinion. I haven't found any one of them so far to have any truth in it. Number 5, is Etsy still worth it? I have not tried it. Should I give it a go? That's a good question. That is a yes and a no. Etsy is an easy platform to list on, in my opinion. Um, It's real easy to upload your pictures. It's very self-explanatory on how to get your listing going. I think the fees, and correct me if I'm wrong, altogether are around 12%. I do know every time you list something, or let's say you list something and you have 5 of the exact same thing, um, if you sell one, it relists. So every time you list or relist, it's a 20 cent fee. So, I mean, that's not too bad. But yes, because it kind of gives you a website, sort of. I use my Etsy a lot for selling stuff because it does collect. Now, this is in the United States. It does collect your taxes for you and pays them for you. So that's one less thing you have to worry about. Um, as far as running ads, I do not run ads on Etsy because that's just taking more of my money. I do have a personal Facebook business page, and when I list something, I put my link in there, and that's how it can be purchased only. That way, scammers on Facebook can't get to you. And so I think I would just have to say yes. Just try it. Hang on a minute. Jerry's got one of my bobbins. So I think to really answer that question, yes. I mean, it can't hurt anything. If you feel like if you're not getting any sales or anything, then you can always just cancel it. So, yes. Okay, number 6 is I have stock in Amazon, selling slow. Should I leave it there? Yes. Um, you can recall it, but there's a fee. But certain times of the year, they have free recall where you can recall all of your inventory that you don't want sitting there anymore. That's how I do it. But right now, I've only got 3 items that are FBA. So, and they sell pretty well. And I don't send a huge stock of them at a time. I'm working on uh, restocking right now because all 3 of them that I have are almost out. So and then I guess that really depends on how many months you've been going, because you do get charged a fee for storage. So if your fee is low, I would say keep them. If your fees are high, then recall them, but you will get charged for recalling them. There'll be a shipping fee, and I don't know if there's another fee or not. I can't remember. I've only recalled one time, and that's been about 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, number 7. Confidence on YouTube. Where do you get it? And has it helped sales? Um, I really don't feel that confident. Uh, I I don't know. Honestly, when I made my first several videos, I really didn't think anybody would ever watch them. I never ever thought I would get over like maybe 10 views, and I never dreamed I would get comments. But one of my first subscribers is in my Facebook group, and she left me a message on maybe my second video, and that just boosted me to keep going. And I think where your confidence really comes are from the people who leave you comments. That's where the confidence comes, that, yeah, maybe you are doing something right. I think that would have to be my answer. I never really thought of it like that before. But it would be from my subscribers or from anybody who has watched my channel randomly and has left me a comment. Yeah, that's where my confidence came from. So thank you very much. Question number 8 is a personal question, and they have asked me, what do you farm? Is it cattle? So instead of me talking about it, how about we take a little break and I go show you? Jerry, want to go for a ride? Want to go see the cows? Lucy, want to go? Come on. I hope that answered your question on the cows. We do raise beef cows, and that was just a couple of them that I could see. I could have went further, and there's more on the other side of the farm, but I don't know all the routes, and I can't always see the fences, especially now that it's getting darker. So I'm really glad they came up that far. So now we're going to move on to the next question. Number 9, how do you cope with dog hairs? This is Jerry, for those of you new. He is a Chihuahua Rat Terrier. And I cope with dog hairs with taking stock in lint rollers. Don't we, Jerry? Look how innocent he looks. And then we have a special guest. This is my daughter's dog, Zara. She's home for the summer. And right now she's on a little vacation, so I am babysitting. So yes, lint rollers for everything. Always lint rollers. Number 10. Will you consider trying TikTok for your followers to see how it goes? Would be a great experiment that you can try for us. I do have TikTok. I have done a couple of videos or whatever's, I guess, videos on there. Um, I I guess I could try. I mean, what's it gonna hurt? I'm just not very good at coming up with ideas on what kind of TikTok to make, I suppose. Now, my oldest daughter, she's very good TikToker. I've asked her to help me, and she kind of laughed at me, so I guess I'll figure it out on my own. But yeah, sure. I'll do some experiments. Maybe I'll do some on my tote bags and see if someone purchases one or something. I don't know. I'll let you guys know in an upcoming video my TikTok experiment. So number 11 is a personal question, and it's how many children and grandchildren do you have? I have 4 children. I have 2 girls and 2 boys, and I have 6 grandchildren, 3 boys and 3 girls. Number 12 is, did you grow up in the area that you live? Yes. Um, when I was 20 years old, I moved to California for about 7 years, and then me and my husband moved back to the area, to our hometown. So I've, I've basically lived here my whole life, minus 7 years. Um, I like it here because it's quiet. We don't live in a big city. We live in a rural area, and it's just really nice. I do like it. Okay, number 13. What is your favorite craft? Well, crochet. Crochet was the first one I ever started doing. I was 10 years old when I started crocheting. I was in Girl Scouts, and they were always doing crafty stuff, and we were to come up with some type of craft. Well, since my mom was a crocheter, she basically got me going on a granny square, and then at Girl Scouts, they helped me finish it out. And we actually had to, and I can't believe I can remember any of this, but we actually went, I guess they were promoting Girl Scouts or brownies or whatever at the time, to show what they can learn when they're in Girl Scouts. And believe it or not, I still have my Girl Scout handbook. But, anyways, we all had to go to the mall, and we were like in the main part of the mall and sit around and show off making our crafts. And I sat there and crocheted a granny square for like 4 hours. It was the ugliest granny square you'd ever seen because my mom was giving me her leftover yarn, which it started out, and I think she still has it somewhere. It started out as off-white, and then it went to a burnt orange, and she ran out of that, so it went to a bright orange. It was hideous, but I made it. And from then on, I've crocheted all the time since then. Mostly, I make up my own patterns. I'm not really good at reading patterns. My mom, on the other hand, can look at a picture and make it, whereas I can't. I I have a really hard time reading patterns, but I can sometimes fumble through one, but I make up my own patterns. Number 14. What is your favorite item to sew? Purses. Everybody needs a purse. I'm thinking about calling them hag bags. Get it? Hag-a-needle? Just hag bags. Yeah, that's my favorite, most favorite thing in the world to sew are purses. I really enjoy making them, and everybody needs a purse. Number 15. What advice do you give to someone starting out? Ooh, that's a hard one. Let's see. I'm going to have to think on that one. One moment. It's been so long since I started out that I guess my advice would be I started out selling my items back when I was late 20s, I guess. I started going to craft fairs with my mom and one of my friends. And believe it or not, my my craft was with one of my friends, and we made those hair. They're on the silver barrette, and we put whatever we could on them. We glued crayons, or we glued all kinds of balloons on them, and we sold those like crazy. That was a really popular thing. But I'm getting off track. Um, Starting out, especially if you have kids and especially if you work a full-time job, it is very, very hard to do. But if this is something that you're dreaming of, that you would love to be able to quit that um, day job. Hang on, Jerry wants up. Okay. And I think you need to make an outline basically. Like, okay, for instance, I had 4 kids. My oldest to my youngest, there's 12 years difference. Every single one of my kids played at least 3 sports, all the way from 5th grade through high school. And then the youngest played 4 years of college. So trying to get my dream was a kind of hard, but I kept my foot in the door by mostly I crocheted then. So I took crochet everywhere, ball practices, like softball and baseball games. Never, I didn't take them to basketball games. Uh, I took them to track though, because your kid only runs like 1 or 2 events. I basically took it everywhere with me. Getting into sewing, I would do that on the weekends. I could get 1 or 2 projects done on the weekends, but I think you need to keep going forward and just keep making until the day where your life isn't so busy that you can follow your dream. I think you need to follow your dream for sure. I'm really, really glad I didn't just say, forget it. Uh, this will never happen. I can't do it. I'm too busy. I'm really glad I went forward and kept holding on to that dream. And the first thing I did was I started out on Yahoo auctions. That is really dating myself. I don't know if anyone's heard of that. That was before that was way before Etsy. So I started selling on there, and you always get that high when your first thing sells. It's like, ooh, I got to make more. Then I found out about eBay, and I started selling my rag quilt purses on there. They did really, really well. And then Etsy opened up, so I kept eBay and Etsy going at the same time. And Etsy has never really ramped up for me, but it's kind of consistent. Actually, the last 2 years, or the last, yeah, 2 years have been slower than what it used to be. But I guess my best advice would be to just keep going, get your stuff out there, try try Etsy. When you get confident with that, then try a web page. Get your Facebook business page, invite your friends, ask people to share it for you. Try to keep your personal and business separate. That way your friends don't get bored with you posting that constantly. When it's on your on your business page, people know you're going to post stuff like that. Share your page once in a while on your personal Facebook page. I'm just going to say go for it and follow your dreams. The last question that I have is, what do you do when sales are slow or non-existent? I get super duper lazy. I quit doing what I should be doing, and that's a problem. Like I said, I'm working on this for FBA. I should have sales got slow on Amazon, and I should have kept on working, but did I? No, because they were slow, and now I'm almost out of items. I should have kept my stock up to where when they got slow, I could have just sent it right in. I would have been ready for it, but did I? No. So I'm trying to be better once again. I've been working on a lot of my craft fair stuff. Uh, some of my craft fairs, the 2 that I'm going to in September, and one in October are basically themed. So, like the one in September is a honeybee festival. I'm trying to get like, I've got some purses with bees on them. I've got some coin wallets with bees on them. I'm trying to get with sort of the theme. The one in October is more vibey with hippie nature type. So that's where I get my retro, the mushroom patterns, the tie-dye. So that's where I get that going. So I like having themed craft fairs because then you can gear towards it and people know what they're coming for. So I'm trying to be better on keeping my stock up for Amazon. That's my new rule starting now. So that was all the questions that I had. I do appreciate people leaving me questions so I could do this. And I want to thank you for spending time with me crocheting today and seeing the cows and stuff. And if you have a question, please drop it in the comments because I would love to do another Q&A in a couple of months, and I would like to start gathering more questions. It can be about crocheting, about sewing, running a handmade business, YouTube, or just getting to know me better. I would really appreciate if you could drop me some questions for my next Q&A. And as always, I will see you all next Sunday.